pedals, clutch, everything, steering wheel, the whole 9 yards.
It was a chair I took out of a car I wrecked.
Was it really?
So
my name's Ryan Johnson. I'm, flying from here. And he's like, oh no, Crash Johnson.
I'm feeling like I need to get the fuck out of this car.
He wants to have he wants to be able to Fonzie that shit. Fucking hit it like
damn
a jukebox
right, man.
And have a fucking
come on.
Stick around, 'cause I am coming back. And I know someday I'm gonna make it big.
We're talking about shit we talk about anyway. Just
seriously.
That's the plan. That's the dream. But anyway, all right, let's get to the show. Tell you something. The intro last week.
Yeah.
I was like, is he going to? And when I did the fact check thing, I was like, you motherfucker, that's why you never get any fact checks. I was hesitant to put that in there.
Why? I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, okay, good. Because I was like, I hope he doesn't think I'm just taking a shot at him.
No, man, that was funny as shit. I was like, you know what? Actually, I thought for a second it's probably true. I really stumble a lot when I'm trying to figure out the names.
I walk into it with my fucking face wide.
Well, you can never live up.
Yeah, Guillermo del
It's like me fucking up Star Wars. I mean, saying Gene Roddenberry created Star Wars, that would be me fucking that up. But
truth. There is a little Star Wars, not so much news. It's just
there is some news on episode 9, but I wasn't going to touch on it because it's not. I don't know if it's true or not.
Dude,
it's
I
just
literally
rumored.
have like 3 things to bring up in the news, and I don't even know if they're like crazy topical. But
because there's supposed to be some major twist in 9, kind of like there's supposed to be. Supposedly, I read today that how in Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine was pretending the whole time, and they couldn't find him. Supposedly, in the First Order, there's somebody that's going to betray the First Order that's been working for
Palpatine.
No, the First Order. You know how in Palpatine they didn't know he was the Sith Lord.
Oh, there's a puppet master.
Puppet master on the First Union side for the Resistance, the feeding in the Resistance like a spy kind of thing. But he's been there since the beginning. It's a main character. I think it's General Hux, probably.
I'm calling it.
That's what I was thinking too. If they're really going that route, but he's such a douche.
Yeah, he got handed
that works for it though. I guess
He's not been really relevant to the story.
No, he hasn't. And you're wondering how he became a general because he's, like I said, he's a douche.
Because him and Kylo just kind of
yeah, right.
And he chews up scenery, man. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, when he just that whole scene in the beginning of Last Jedi where he just got like strangled and all that, and then Kylo Ren made him his bitch later. It's like, come on, man. Why are you even in this?
He goes back to his quarters. He's got a picture of Kylo with his shirt off, in like a locker photo. He opens up his thing. He's got a little shrine. He's like, "Why do you hurt me?"
that makes a lot of sense because he hasn't really done anything.
No,
he's done nothing to advance any of the plot of the movie, but he's been present.
Yeah. And he's actually the guy that's playing him is not really a bad actor.
No, yeah.
He just they put him in a bad situation.
No, he's a good actor. He was in wasn't he in one of the Black Mirrors where he played the clone?
I didn't see the Black Mirrors. You and Jamie saw them.
I think he.
No, I saw one of them. I really was. It's okay.
I thought you liked the Black Mirror. You were like,
nah,
you never got back into it.
Nah, I really wasn't into it. I've been watching that Norm Macdonald shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Dude, his delivery. I know what you're talking about.
I love that guy. He's fucking. Dude,
what happened with him?
Dirty Work was his shit.
What happened? He was supposed to be on one of the late nights, and they kicked him off. Like
he was
a couple hours.
He was going
before.
on Fallon, and then he did a printed article or some shit, and then they like edited it, and it sounded like he was like blaming the victims of the whole Me Too movement.
Are you serious? What was
Some
edited,
shit
but
like
it wasn't him.
Nah, it was like they cut it up and twisted it around and what he said, what he was trying to say is he's friends with Louis C.K.
and
Roseanne, and he said those two don't like each other, but he was pretty much saying those two are in similar situations, so they should probably hook up as far as to see maybe they can help each other out, work through it or whatever, and it came across the victims are at fault or whatever or some shit.
Well, I think there's
but then he apologized anyway, and people are just
I appreciate the Me Too movement. We talked about it upstairs, but I also think on the flip side, people ultra sensitive when it comes to any.
I think
little
people are. I think like not necessarily the same thing, but it's like cops nowadays. It's the same thing with comedians. Like you really have to watch with like a fine microscope of what the fuck you're saying,
Yeah, because
which like being a comic, you know what I mean? It's like it should be open. It should be whatever the fuck you want to talk about. I mean, that's what you're paying to go see.
Yeah,
Seriously.
if you don't want to go see it, don't go pay. Don't
Yeah,
watch
pretty
it.
much.
Well, dude, Louis C.K. did that opener for Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
About child molestation and stuff like that, child
Yeah.
molesters.
It was horrible.
And dude, it was hysterical. I thought it was genius.
Oh, I didn't like it.
I thought it was funny as
it was
fuck.
fucking genius
And
because
there's the problem.
yeah, well, we got polar opposites.
It's totally offensive, but it doesn't matter if it's funny enough.
I thought it was
But
so
funny is
goddamn
totally
sophisticated, man. I
Yeah.
thought he went for it, and he was like, and it's like,
And I usually like him.
Yeah.
I just didn't like that.
yeah, and it's all personal preference, right? But it was like I was thinking to myself, like, holy shit, he's going there, and you got to pay attention because if you get shocked out of it, then it's gonna run you right over.
I got shocked out of it. But I didn't sit there and, oh my God, put a big letter out there saying, fuck Louis C.K.
No.
I mean, that's to Jamie's point. He's a comedian. That's what he's
Yeah,
trying to
but
do.
in his case though, he was actually doing something. I'm talking about.
I'm just talking about the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm talking about like saying whatever you want.
Well,
If
that's
you-
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
Yeah, if you're up there doing whatever you want, like
I didn't buy into it, so I turned the channel. I was like, I'm kind of not feeling this, so I didn't watch it. To your point, I'm not talking about what he really did wrong. I'm just talking about
Yeah.
as a comedian, what he said about. I just wasn't into it.
Stern the other day was when he interviewed Norm or whatever. He was talking about Norm goes when he was hanging out with Kinnison, and it's like before Kinnison was like people knew who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
They were on a plane together and they're sitting next to each other, and like the pilot hops on. He's like, this is my name's so and so. I'm like, my name's Ryan Johnson. I'm flying from here. And he's like, oh no, Crash Johnson. Like real loud. And he just did it just to make Norm laugh, and everybody else is like freaking the fuck out.
Here's
But,
the thing, man. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, James.
No, but that's just like the thing. Like nowadays, can you imagine if somebody said that now?
Air Marshal would fucking
Yeah, it's just like it is a different. That just goes to show you like the climate.
Here's the thing. I think people are lonely, man, and people want to be heard, and people want to be able to get behind something, so they have opinion about something, so they're relevant about something. We're included, right? And I'm not saying that it's everybody else. I'm just saying. And then some people, it's like they're so ready to be outraged. They're so ready to take a stance on something. Because we have this gigantic public forum in the internet.
Yeah, the internet word is triggered.
Yeah. Is it like a jump scare?
What's that?
Professionally outraged.
Yeah.
It's not even a matter of I'm outraged because this particular thing touches close to me. It's like I just want to be mad. So
Yeah, yeah.
For things to be mad about.
Yeah, and then be part of the club that's mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the show.
Sorry.
No worries.
That happens every week. Let's just get to the show.
Yeah.
But Norm's fucking funny, that dude.
That dude is funny, dude. But I thought he was the best Weekend Update guy out there.
By far, but like his joke setup too, like his thing with jokes is he likes to use the same punchline twice, but telling a different joke. Like that's like his favorite thing to do, which is fucking hilarious.
And he doesn't mind letting things linger a little bit.
No, and he like draws things out because the way he talks, it's like he's like Ben Stein. He's like, so
We should have brought him up when we were talking about Burt Reynolds and his Burt Reynolds impersonation.
Yeah. He talked about
Turd Ferguson?
hanging out with Burt Reynolds or whatever.
Oh, really?
Dude, that was fucking hilarious.
Sorry, I balked on you. I said we're going to get to the show, and we did.
That Weekend Update stuff doesn't age well, though. You
No.
watch some of it now,
Well,
it's
it's
like,
topical, right?
Him and Dennis Leary were the only two that really did it well.
Dennis Leary did it well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did a crush.
Dennis Miller.
I forgot about them.
Dennis
They
Miller
do
was good.
Dennis Miller was great. And even Colin Yost and Michael Shea are really, really good. But there was something special about like you were, if you paid attention, you're like, he's fucking with the audience, and he's fucking with the people. He's fucking with Lorne Michaels. you know, or whoever his censor is.
And he got fired over the OJ thing.
Oh yeah.
What did he get fired out?
He got fired over he made like a joke about OJ and like
Well, everybody made jokes about OJ.
It might have been too soon.
There's a compilation on YouTube of like Weekend Update OJ jokes, and it's like 20 minutes of just him going on about it. Over the course of, like, you can tell it's over the course of years.
Yeah.
No, the best joke is Dave Chappelle when he goes and he in his last stand up.
Yeah, that was
when he
great.
goes, I met OJ like 4 times, I think he said.
And he went through the whole special.
So
was
the
awesome.
third time I met OJ, and then he goes, and then OJ left, and it was like, that motherfucker killed them people.
Yeah, I like how it progressed. So that guy.
That dude's a
he's fucking
genius,
like
man.
really intelligent when it comes to. Oh my god.
Well, he's in that new movie, A Star Is Born.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in that?
Yeah, it's supposed
I heard it's supposed to be good.
Yeah.
She's like Gaga. Like they're all raving over her performance, supposedly.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, she's a talented, not actress, but what I'm saying
Performer.
is performer because she could sing, she can play the piano, and there's
She already
a lot-
acted too. She was in that. What was that? That fucking,
No, she's legit
that
talented.
FX,
Oh, yeah.
that FX show, the one with the.
Horror Story American.
But she
Yeah,
was
that's
only
right.
in like an episode, right?
I thought it was like a whole season
Was she in the whole season? I don't watch
because
that
they
show,
change it
man.
up. I don't watch it either.
Well, here's the thing about Star is Born. It's a industry movie starring industry people about the industry. They're all going to
Oh, it's like it's like
yeah,
La La
that's a good
Land.
point, man.
It's like La La Land.
La La Land was great. I loved La La Land.
Oh, you're one of the few.
I like musicals. So
I like musicals too, but it was just like, well, I guess because like I'm like kind of like a romantic. That ending pissed me off.
I
Did that
couldn't
piss
even
you
get
off?
through the opening
You know what I'm
scene.
saying? Like when I got to the end, I was like, "Fuck you!"
I love that.
You did like that?
a total twist on it. Like, no, they didn't get the happy ending they wanted.
Yeah, I guess
they
you're
ended
right.
up fine, but it wasn't the stereotypical happy ending. It was
I was so angry about
and
that.
like, looking back on what could have been.
Yeah,
The thing I didn't like about La La Land, I mean, I thought it was great.
So I'm the only one that couldn't finish it, right?
Dude, I finished it, but the thing I didn't like about it is that if you go back, and granted, these guys aren't dancers, like if you go back and you look at Fred Astaire do his thing, you're like, holy shit! You're like, is this animated?
Or
is he
Bing
on pulleys?
Crosby?
Is he's like really Fred Astaire was the man? As
He
far as
was.
dancing. But if you look at those old school dance maneuvers and dance moves, you're like they're flawless. And if you watch Ryan Gosling do his thing, and you're like, he's an incredibly talented person, but it shouldn't even be on the same planet as those performances. And when people say it was an amazing musical, so I'm like, no, look back at that shit.
But what's coming out now that's any better?
yeah, that's true. You know what I wish they made into a
Yeah,
musical?
true.
Swingers. That would have been an awesome fucking musical, dude.
We're
You better check the fucking recording.
We're at
time.
12 minutes,
All right.
so we got an hour and 21 minutes.
Yeah. Let's not go over it this time.
No.
Felt so bad for Jerry. He had his whole lineup was hilarious.
I know.
With the Steven Seagal shit, and I just
We'll have him
cut.
back, for sure.
Nah, but he actually put a lot of time and effort into that. It seemed.
Yeah.
Where we just kind of wing it every week, except for
Pretty much.
John. Me and Jamie just wing it.
Fuck yeah.
Except
your
for the
mother's
Beaver
basement.
story. I know you searched that shit up.
I didn't search that shit. That was on the fucking
Told you,
news. That was
I'm
all over the
afraid to
news.
Search that shit. All right.
Meth head fucking a beaver, dude. I'm on it.
And John's hometown, to boot.
Yeah, it's rival high school, actually, a town over.
It's like fucking Edinburgh doing something like that happened in Edinburgh.
Do you imagine being his mother?
That's what I said. Any family member,
Yeah. You'd have to change your
even
name.
if you're like the second cousin, be like, yeah.
Oh, wait, you don't have to.
Your last name is so and so.
Nah,
The beaver fucker?
And it's not good. Like
No, it's like the last name Hitler. Like
nah.
your last name's fucking Hitler?
Yeah, it's like that mustache, that Hitler stash.
That'll never come back.
came back. They talked about it on Family
Fuck
Guy.
no, it was
I
popular
laughed
as
my
shit,
ass.
dude. Charlie
It was.
Chaplin rocked the fuck out of that.
Well, he copied it off of Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know
Did he
that-
really?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh boy.
He copied it off of him.
And ruined that motherfucker.
Charlie Chaplin
Never come back, man.
He did The Great Dictator and then never wore it again.
Oh.
I think Charlie Chaplin met Hitler, didn't he?
Charlie Chaplin was a legit megastar. Back
He was.
in the
He
day.
was the megastar.
Yeah.
When that's all anybody talked about back in the day.
He was like Will Smith.
Because it was like he was the first on-screen guy, right? One of
Well,
them.
there's Buster Keaton, Chaplin. There's a bunch of them. Okay, let's get into it.
Go.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Nick, Jon, and Jamie Show. I am Jon.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jamie.
We have another special guest, folks. Another special guest. Long time friend of the show. Actually gives us notes. I text with this person like all the time. Like after the show goes in, this person, I'm just going to say it is. Marcus, welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
You were trying to build that up
I was
a little
going to try
too
and
much.
build it up, and I was like, "You're just going to spin taffy, man, pool taffy." And so Marcus, he's been a friend. He was actually from the neighborhood. Marcus lived next door to me when we talked about the neighborhood that we would have all these conversations and get-togethers over at my house, and we would just stumble into these conversations. And next thing you know, we're talking about all the stuff we love all night. And Marcus literally lived right next door to me. And Marcus, we actually gave Marcus a nickname when he lived next door to us because he would work. He'd work his ass off. He continues to work his ass off. And we'd be hanging out on the back deck, and it'd be pitch black because we were backed up against those woods. And one day he just appeared out of the ink, and he was forever known as, at least to us, as Marcus from the darkness. And
You guys have nicknames for everybody you met.
dude, my grandmother,
Those creepy guys.
That's an MMR VJ, isn't he?
Marcus from the darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it?
Is it?
I think so.
Yes, yeah. It's something like that.
Marcus in the Darkest or something like that. He's like a late night guy, obviously.
Does he have that? You could pull off late night DJ voice.
I would
totally.
do it. I'd fucking do it.
Quiet Storm with Jamie.
Do it like a
No,
porn
but
thing.
welcome to the show, Marcus. Marcus, I wanted to bring Marcus on for a while, and we decided since Jamie has an occupation that involves automobiles and
Mechanical.
mechanical. He's actually. What do you do, Jamie? You fix big ass.
I used to
machines,
fix
right?
cars, and then now I fix like big machines.
Big giant machines.
Yeah, like dozers, excavators, pavers, milling machines.
Yeah, but
Stuff like
started out with some love affair of automobiles.
Always, yeah, cars.
And-
Start with like bikes, dirt bikes, then goes in the cars, and then progresses.
Yeah, and then now you get to do what you love for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
Until we get paid big bucks for doing the show. Marcus shares
Yeah,
similar.
I'll be waiting.
Yeah, wait for that. Hold your breath on that check.
Yeah.
Marcus shares a similar love affair with automotive industry, and you started out working on cars, but then you started getting into high performance end of working on cars.
I mean, I got into it just naturally as being a kid and wanting to go faster, but as part of the industry, just kind of stumbled into it, really.
Yeah. So I thought about it. Go ahead. I think Marcus, just get a little closer to that mic.
Okay.
There you go. So I thought about it, and I thought about Jamie, and I thought about when we would have Marcus on, and they're going to add to this topic. Just actually, it's going to be a fun topic to talk about, which is we're going to talk about car chases, the badass cars that were in those chases, but not just. We're going to put a little bit of a geek spin on it. We're not going to, because Nick and I are not nearly as tough and manly as Marcus and Jamie. We're going to not leave it just to automobiles. We're going to actually leave it to movie chases in general, and maybe tiptoe around into what would be the vehicles that we would love to have if the imaginary world dropped, our favorite vehicle into our laps.
Are we talking about vehicles or just cars?
Because
Because I got a lot of vehicles in mind.
dude, that's what I want to say. I want us to like the heart of the matter should be like, what was a car chase that you really dug? But let's be creative, man. This is our show. We can do what we want.
Okay,
We can
okay.
extend it out to the.
Okay. Maybe I didn't understand the topic what you were talking about before.
I asked you.
You
before the
did,
show.
you did. My fault.
So let's get into it with weekend box office. Weekend box office. We have The Predator. Why the fuck
What,
did
the
they-
15th installment?
You're really pissed off about
I
the
don't like the in front of it. They did it
guess.
with
That's the
Wolverine.
part that pisses you off?
Well,
not the movie itself.
not the
think-
remake.
I
not
haven't
the
watched
80th
it.
remake of it.
you know
it
what?
actually is a remake, isn't it? Like they actually did it from the beginning, right? Isn't that like... I don't know. I
the
didn't
premise
watch it.
is that they crash on Earth, and
Yeah.
of course nobody knows about it except 20 people, and then
Yeah, they're in the jungle or something. The original one was in the jungle with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah,
And
but it was
has-
remote, so that lent to a little bit of a believability about it, and
That's what was great about it.
Yeah.
And then even the second one with Danny Glover.
I like that one too.
That was really
everything
good.
else from there
'Cause
was
then you
That's
had-
my favorite one. I'm going to be honest with you.
yeah.
I like that one better.
I think I like that one better too.
I think Jamie, you just like the second version of whatever.
I think, it's
Second
called,
Lord of the
it's-
Rings,
hey,
Empire
I think
Strikes
it's called
Back.
being true to myself. Like sometimes you just want to, you know what I mean? Like it, something that's good.
Dude,
I'm not going to like it just because it was first. That's fucking dumb.
You like whatever your heart desires.
Yeah, hey man, I ain't going to bullshit you.
No, you got to come correct. So the Predator, but the reason I don't like the is because they did that with Wolverine. It's like it's not the Wolverine. It's like it was old.
Oh, in
Wolverine.
that second one, they did the Wolverine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they do that with the recent Ghostbusters too?
I think you're right on the new one, right?
Yeah, I think
The
they did.
Ghostbusters?
I
Is
mean,
it the
I'm sure there was
Ghostbusters?
some
I think you're right.
movie
And that
union thing where
the
you
sucked.
can't have it was horrible.
Yeah, it was fucking dude. Those proton packs. Speaking about pissing you off more than those fucking proton packs are fucking garbage.
And moving on.
All right, sorry about that.
Not kidding.
You're talking about the one with Melissa McCarthy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, come
Yeah.
on.
For the 80th time, it wasn't the women's fault.
Yeah, it was Ghostbusters.
It was horribly written. Who the fuck wrote that? You should be sad.
I just wanted to get all those women together and put them in Ghostbusters and money grab. Total. Like, we'll make money off of this.
There's that, but I also think a lot of it was, well, we got a bunch of funny people. We'll just let them riff.
Yeah.
And you can't really do that with a movie that needs that much kind of support.
And dude, she is bad at. I mean, as far as improvisational comedy, the Melissa McCarthy is funny as hell.
She's fantastic. Like in Bridesmaids, where you could just go and riff, and it's just people talking.
Oh,
See, that you can do
was
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
But when you have a Ghostbusters movie,
Exactly.
you already have a plot
Shit
right
in the
there. It's
sink.
Ghostbusters. Bridesmaids or Hangover or anything like that. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, you got to step your game up.
So the Predator is at $24 million. It topped the box office this weekend. The Nun,
I heard that was good. I'm not.
I heard it was
guy.
good too,
Yeah.
but not good enough to break $20 million at the box office this weekend. And
Still,
we got-
for the scenes freaked me out a little bit. That was kind of.
it's some creepy ass imagery. For
Nuns
sure.
were always. Let's face it, nuns
Jerry
are
was
bitches.
cracking me up
What's it
last
up?
week.
What's it up to now?
It's up to $85 million.
Okay.
What, the nun?
$22 million budget, so it crushed.
Eh,
Was this Predator's release weekend or
yes.
No, the
I
Nun
thought
was the weekend before.
No, yes, Predator.
Predator
Oh yeah, Predator. It was released this weekend
to 25 million?
to 25
That's
million.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, there's
not great.
There's nothing out right now.
dude, it's an
Exactly.
88
There's nothing
million.
out right now, and then Predator got 25 million.
I'll tell you
That's a
what,
good
man.
point. It's
That whole concept is banging. Like, and I loved, like, if they would to get into the Predators, like they would, like, really dig into what they're all about.
Yeah. Well, did you like Alien versus Predator?
Oh, that's where it lost me. I got pissed off because why
see,
are you connecting those two genres?
No, I kind of like the concept of it. I thought that was cool, but like that movie is kind of like they could have done better. Is what I'm saying. I like
Totally.
the concept, just
Yeah.
didn't like how they did it.
I just thought it was a cheap, money
Well,
grab.
that's what I mean. Like cheap. It's like they didn't dump money into the writing
because
and or
the Predator thing was the original Predator thing was they're all about sport. It's all hunting. These are like these super aggressive advanced species. That's what.
Sorry, Nick. I just
Sorry,
took a sip of that beer, man. It was delicious. It was at lunch, the main brewing lunch.
But then you go to Aliens, man. I love Prometheus. I thought it was awesome. I thought that direction at the end of it, that's where they should have kept going instead of what they did in the second one was crap.
That movie's a big ass movie. You know how like Christopher Nolan does these expansive movies,
Love
where
Christopher Nolan.
big sweeping scenery and stuff like that. That's where I liked where they were going with how big Prometheus was. And
But really, Scott loves that shit.
yes,
See, I like-
that's not unusual for him either.
nah.
See, I like backstories. I like they were building on a backstory where the aliens came from. Then you introduce this creator character, and I'm like, why don't we dive more into that?
Yes.
Why does it have to be about aliens? Why don't you just go in a different direction?
Dude, they're challenging the what like God.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So that's what was so cool about it.
Like, here you go. I'm gonna hand humanity a big chunk of humble pie
Right.
and say that no, it's not as this immaculate thing that you think it was.
All of a sudden, he comes along and destroys the whole race, a race that's been millions of years old. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah.
That they've had space travel for hundreds of thousands of years, and he somehow snuck up on them and destroyed them all.
Yeah.
That sounds cheesy to me.
But and back to the point where
Yeah, we got off
where we're
topic.
talking about the Predator is like at the end of 2, when you got inside the spaceship, I was like, holy shit!
And they had
this
that
is
gun
cool.
from like 1860. I thought that
Dude,
was
all the
totally awesome.
all the skeletons,
Yeah.
all the trophies.
from different species.
It's like if they would lean in on that a little bit more, I would be totally fascinated.
But they could have
totally.
fucked it up. It could have gone the other way. And they could have fucked that up, and that's why they left you like a little bit of a taste.
Yeah, and they keep wanting to make humanity they keep wanting to make their presence really small.
Why not do something in the future of humanity where they run into the predators again?
Well, dude, that's the
That would
aliens
be-
thing we were talking
No,
about.
not the aliens. Future of humanity, not with aliens, but with the predators. Like, say this Predator, after Predator 2, there was like a gap of 20, 30, 20, like 3,000 years. Then humanity is outstretched in the universe. Then it's on this random planet. They run into the predators again somehow, some way. And
I love that idea.
That's just, isn't that
That's gotta be a
fascinating?
miniseries, though.
What?
Yeah.
What Netflix,
Dude,
they could do that.
and
They could ride that so fast.
They could, and the only thing they've got going for them is like a brand.
Yeah.
Kind of got an inbuilt brand, but they've kind of also destroyed it with all the crappy movies. They put out.
Exactly.
Yeah, here's the
But you
thing.
can't
Like,
do that cheaply. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, Lost in Space was phenomenal. That's where I'm getting this almost to a little bit from what Netflix did with Lost in Space. It was a brand. It was well over and done with. That movie that came out 20 years ago sucked ass.
Yeah.
But then they
Matt
came
LeBlanc.
out. They came out with this the miniseries, the TV show this year. It was really good.
I liked it.
I liked the little twist on it. Well, I don't want to get into it with the whole father thing and all, but everything was really well done. And
Yeah.
I felt like they probably should have went to a TV series with the Predator instead of releasing a movie.
dude, what about this, man? Like, you just got my brain going about this. What if it was like way out in the future? Earth is now more sophisticated, right? They excelled in science and space exploration and weaponry and all that stuff. Have it be like Predator War. You know, like now we know who they are, and now it becomes we're at war with this planet. Who want? Yeah, their thing is hunting, but they almost become like Klingons.
So we're like a worthy adversary.
Yeah,
At this
Or-
point.
or you go to
well,
war-
no, it's like before
I like
they were
that.
just hunting. Now it's like, fuck you guys. You think these guys are hunting with muskets and stuff? That's the level of how they hunt. Watch how they come at you when they go to war.
I like that idea. How about halfway through this whole movie, they're fighting this adversary. You don't know who they are because they've changed over the time. They're not using the same tech they used.
Yeah.
3,000 years. This whole thing, and then
Oh, that's
halfway
a good
through
point.
the movie, you find out that it was the freaking Predators.
Ugh.
That would be badass. Like it kind of like
I think
you
you have
see
to
a
bring it in a little sooner than that. Unless
Maybe,
it was a
maybe.
series like Marcus was
I
talking
got
about.
a good
maybe,
idea. We
but-
can have Michael Bay do this whole thing.
I mean, pitch
And he can, and Ryan Johnson can
What's that,
assist.
Marcus?
Right?
pitch it to Netflix. He'll greenlight anything.
That's right.
$13 billion this year is what they're spending.
Dude, we just said in
13 billion. That's what their budget is.
Yeah.
Holy
Dude,
shit.
we just said in was the last episode, maybe the episode before, that September they had over 50 Netflix original material, 50 series and movies coming out in 1 month. 50 new.
So much content, it gives you anxiety.
I mean, it used to be a buzzword
There's-
for quality, like when they only had a couple shows out, but now it's worse than a lot of network stuff out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of trash. There's a lot of crap, of course. But and it's like, you know, you wonder if it's going to be. You wonder if it's going to be. Let's make sure your levels are right.
It's for Marcus Moore. I don't hear him that well.
You just wonder about the quality, right? Because out of all the things that are crap, you just got to be on mic. That's all, Marcus. Out of all the stuff that's crap, you're right. There's probably a handful of things that you're really, really passionate for, right? And so, but I don't care. I'll take it. They're still delivering pound for pound
because-
more good content than any of the networks.
I think like the audience
I mean, I
speaks.
guess.
So. Well,
ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox.
And you can't even count the other streaming networks because they're a step below right now.
No, I mean, yeah. So it's. I feel like it's $13 billion that could be spent on a hell of a lot better, though.
True. Yeah, well,
I'm not arguing because they're still releasing content I enjoy.
Yeah.
So if they want to do a concept where they're throwing stuff against the wall and sees what sticks, I'm fine with it.
That only works so far, though. I mean,
Yeah, you're right.
they're, as a company, they're operating at massive losses because sooner or later they'll say, "Okay, we'll figure it out, and we'll cut these 400 other shows that don't make us any money, and we'll keep the good ones." But that comes down to people and executives making the right decisions.
Well, Amazon did it for years. Look at them. Not with shows, but with their. John's always said they just keep reinvesting in R&D constantly.
Well,
Yeah.
they reinvest in destroying other industries.
This is true.
Absolutely, 100%. And here's the thing: I like disruption, and I know it's kind of a shitty word but disruption makes people competitive. It shakes the dust off and makes people think.
That's one thing they've done.
Like, you got to get your game face on, because if you think about Netflix, if they're starting to trade, so their value's going up, and that's them as a company. So they can just, when it comes down to it, if they go and say, all right, our stock's worth this, and then they split, and then they have thousands and thousands of people buy in at half the price of their original stock, then the value of that company continues to grow, and then they can still borrow against that value. I think you're right, though, Marcus. I think they're going to have to get to a point where they normalize and they start to look at their data, because that's the other thing. They got a ton of data.
They do.
That's worth so much to analyze the behavior of their consumers, and then say, all right, well, see all this stuff. It's about 20% of our viewership is catering to this. All right, now let's talk about all the other dogs that we can put bullets in. And that's where I think they'll eventually normalize. But
not to mention they'll find shows that are like what you're saying is pretty much are successful, and we'll just keep redoing them, put them out different times of the year, so everybody will just keep watching, and then every once in a while we'll throw new content in there later on.
Yeah.
Right now, it's to what I was saying earlier. They're just thrown against the wall. That's how Stranger Things took off. They just said, here's a bunch of money. You got a good concept. Now everybody loves it. I mean, 2 seasons down, it's probably one of the best, if not the best show on Netflix. Is one of them.
it's up there.
Well, I think it's all like, spoken word too, because generally you can sift through all the bullshit because you hear like, oh yeah, 13 Reasons Why. That's
Yeah,
pretty good.
it's true.
Like, Stranger Things. You know what I mean? So like,
They're not advertising like
they're not
everybody else.
advertising, but I'm saying like word of mouth. Like I've heard multiple people say all these shows, and then I just go like watch it. Like how many times have you heard like Black Mirror?
Wow, tons.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like shit like that. So it's like, and then like you're right too about like keeping other people competitive. Like they're starting to do that shit where they release like a movie, whether it be good or bad, but skip in the movie theater.
Yeah. Well,
You know what I
AMC did that too. Like
Yeah,
when
it's
AMC came out with, everybody forgets about, Walking Dead. When The Walking
Yeah.
Dead came out, I was like, holy shit, this is on network television. It's cable, but it's
How
still
gory it was, man.
Oh my God. I was like, somebody's not paying attention, because how did this get through? And then they haven't let off the gas, and then you got these shows that are like, if they can do it, then we need to up our game. So you're getting shows like Mr. Robot, and getting shows like Breaking Bad, and even like some of the older shows were pretty good too. Which was like, what was Dennis Leary's show? It was where he was the firefighter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Burn Notice, was it?
Was it? No, that's not.
No, Burn
No,
Notice-
but it was on
Burn
FX, though,
Burn
right?
Notice was
Chicago
the
Fire?
spot.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
it.
but it's like they get to push the envelope, and then you go and you look at awards night, and you're like, where is ABC? Where is NBC?
No.
Well, see,
Where are
and
the
like-
networks, and it's like, so that's where the paradigm is shifting.
And we were talking about, you guys were talking about quality. Like I would say out of all those, like probably HBO would probably be the most quality as far as like content.
They have
wise.
The
Like,
Wire. They have.
Well, I'm just saying, like
Sopranos, Game of Thrones.
generally, like they were big on the quality part.
Well,
Yeah.
And I think as a network, quality comes down to who is the person who's making these decisions, something that we agree with. Because I'm sure there's people who think the shows that we think on Netflix are good.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, look at what the networks are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that goes to show you like what they think is good is obviously not good.
oh, well, does it sell? Like, because
Yeah.
they're just there to make money.
Yeah, pretty much.
Netflix is here to get their brand
Subscribers.
up.
Yeah.
Because they're not selling any ad time, but the networks, networks are there to make a whole bunch of money, and maybe those formulaic cop shows that everyone kind of hates but won't stop watching.
Yep.
They sell a bunch for ad time. So
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, look at what's going on. DC now has a subscription-based channel. who else? CBS has a subscription based channel. It's like they're like people are going like, wait a minute, we got to do something. It's like the music industry. When Apple started doing music, they were like, holy shit, and their pants were already down around their ankles.
Yeah, Napster already pulled those down.
Well, you're right. Napster did lead that
Napster
charge.
pulled the fucking pants down.
So back to box office. The Nun is sitting at number 2 with $18 million. A Simple Favor at $16 million. White Boy Rick was looking at $8 million, a little almost $9 million.
I heard that was really good.
I was going to ask what the hell, what is White Boy Rick?
It's like based on a true story, too.
Yeah.
What is it about?
It's this kid who wanted to get into drug dealing because, I don't know, maybe for the money or whatever, but he gets caught by the FBI really quickly and is turned into an informant. And then I think they just dump a whole bunch of money and, I don't know, drugs at him, and he just kind of infiltrates himself into this.
Oh, this whole
like
scene.
the whole scene. Yeah,
The caption that I quickly Googled up was Rick Wersch is a single father who's struggling to raise 2 teenagers during the height of the crack epidemic in the 80s in Detroit. Wersch sells guns illegally to make ends meet, but soon attracts the attention from FBI federal agents and they convinced his son, Rick Jr., to become an undercover drug informant in exchange for keeping his father out of prison. Damn, it wasn't even him. It was based on his dad first. And he gets in deep and blah, blah, blah. But I heard it was good, too, for sure. And so back to box office. We're going to shift up box office. We're realizing that top 10 is kind of flat, especially it was good in the summertime when you actually had 10 movies that everybody heard
Panther
about.
Was going like 50 weeks.
Yeah, Black Panther went 3 months or something in the top 10.
Christ.
But we definitely need to trim the fat on that one. We're just going to go top 5. And who's rounding out the fifth spot in weekend box office? Crazy Rich Asians. That was a sneak attack. Like
I really want to see that.
That sounded so racist.
Yeah, it did.
It didn't until you brought it up.
I know, but that's why
it sounded like a name of a porno.
That they're topping off the box office at the 5 spot at a little over about $8.6 million. But domestic, they did $150 million.
Cleaning up.
$30 million budget. Good stuff. So let's move into the news. Last week's news wasn't even geektastic news.
Nah, it was just
I wanted to throw
meth
it
head
in there.
fucking a beaver. I mean, how can you not bring that up? Seriously, you can't make that up.
Has there been any follow up?
I don't think so.
Was it on President Steve? Do you know?
I don't really listen to that.
They had to talk. I'm sure they did in the Bizarre Files.
Yeah,
they pick up all that crap. I didn't listen to them because I've been
so local.
They totally picked it up. They had to.
But in other news, not related to bestiality, not really, kind of a light news. I got a little bit of casting news. Patrick Stewart got cast as Bosley in the new Charlie's Angels reboot.
Oh God, no!
Why
is he doing that?
I have less than zero interest in this movie.
I lost a little bit of respect for him there.
They've got to be paying him so much money, though.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's in that, and he's doing the Star Trek thing. He's coming back as
Star Trek's probably paying him a boatload of money too.
Yeah, that's because that goes back to the CBS All Access. They're looking. I'm sure. Put it this way: we talked about this forever ago. The only thing that brought me there, CBS All Access, was Star Trek Discovery.
Do you still have it?
Was that any good?
It was good. It was good. It just like, and I told these guys, it's like it's not good enough for me to keep this.
Yeah, they teased you,
and they did tease me for that.
Yeah, strung you along
because you saw the Enterprise and you got like a boner.
Yeah. Because and here's how I rationalize it. And they're going to do it again with goddamn Picard. And here's how I rationalized it. I said to myself, listen, there's been a ton of times when you're like, all right, I'm going to buy a couple of digital comic books and they're $5 a piece.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, what the hell? I'm going to buy, I'll buy one a month or whatever, 2 a month. And I was like, listen, if I go and I can get all these and knock them out and spend the $11 or whatever it is, it's worth it. And then I'll just cut off the membership. But I would get so pissed if I forgot to watch it and it ran over.
That's what they bank on.
That's how I'm grading the service, because that's the only show. But it's not so good that I'm like, no big deal. Let's just keep this going. Yeah. But yeah, so he's going to be Bosley in this new Charlie's Angels. It's the one it's got Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
not interested.
Ella Balinska. I don't even know who
I
that
didn't
is.
even care for Charlie's Angels, the original, so the show.
Oh, well, that was...
I mean, that was before my
It was
time.
popular as fuck, man.
Oh, well, you got 3 hot women running around solving crime back in the 70s
and
or early
Farrah
80s.
Fawcett was at her, like, peak.
Yeah, I mean, who wasn't going to tune into that?
Yeah.
Nowadays, you got porno, you got fucking the internet for porn, so who cares about that?
Well, I wondered, that makes you think, I wonder how those shows like Baywatch and everything would do nowadays.
Nah, that would do good.
I mean, look how the movie did.
Yeah.
And that was a rock movie, too.
I don't think it did very well.
No, I don't think it did.
God
either.
I
damn.
think they fucked that up. They should
They
have did that
did.
as like a funny movie.
I think they tried to.
They
Is that
tried to
what
do
it
it.
was?
They tried to do it as a funny movie.
Yeah,
I
they
heard it was
fucked that up.
bad.
And I'm not I'm not like, oh, my humor has to be highbrow, but at least be a little clever,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, there's a lot of material you could work with there.
Did you see it?
No.
I
I'm
did.
just saying. Oh, you did? Of course you did.
It was terrible.
I'm sure you did.
In other news, we got you guys know Jonathan Kasdan, right? He's wrote not the Star Wars, but he's been writing with his dad, Lawrence Kasdan. He's been part of the Star Wars properties. But he posted on Twitter that there's probably not going to... His feeling, this is his opinion, didn't come from the studio, is that there's not going to be another Solo, even though they kind of left it open-ended.
I like Solo.
I did too. We talked about that, but his comment was basically that he feels it's doubtful, and he feels like that there's other stories to tell.
I do have something on that. They showed a clip from the Mike Miller and Solo's version.
Yeah,
Lord
and Miller. Yeah,
Yeah, of Chewbacca and Han Solo having a snowball fight. It was
But
stupid.
that works for Lord and Miller. I mean, the problem is... if
Lord and
you-
Miller shouldn't be doing a Star Wars film.
Exactly, yeah.
It was so stupid.
Yeah.
I saw the clip. I was like,
That's a shame.
I didn't know what to say. It was-
Oh, that made me cringe. That's almost as bad as
there was
Obi.
like no words in it.
Obi.
They were just
frolicking.
going back. Yes.
I mean, hopefully this frees up, money for an Obi-Wan movie, though.
I would love an Obi-Wan
I
movie.
think they're
Oh, yeah.
scared right now because of what happened with this.
I mean, I think they're scared, but they're still going to do it.
They have to do it. It has to be with Ian McGregor. If they cast somebody else, that's a mistake.
All right, I'm going to do it, Jamie. It didn't scare them so much to take away the 3 movies for Ryan Johnson.
They will. They will. I'll bank on that shit.
Why haven't they done it already?
Because Bob
That's the
Iger
question.
or whatever the fuck his name is, he actually he loved The Last Jedi, supposedly.
Jeez.
That
What
was
the
a-
fuck was he watching?
Because he's so connected to his fan base.
Yeah, right. But I bank on the fact that when they finally
We gotta
get rid
ask
of
every-
Catherine Kennedy and the new person comes in, because it's just in pre-production. It's not like they can't can it. They got rid of fucking directors.
Well, they've got like 4 years before.
Right. So they got a while. So, I mean, it's not like they can't get rid of this guy. It's Disney. They have billions of dollars. And I'm like,
saw how
Buy the contract.
We
out.
got to ask every.
see you later, dude.
We got to ask every guest. What did you think?
I mean, I liked it at first. So the thing that you guys seem to hate, the hyperspace through the other ship thing.
I don't mind that.
I don't like it because why weren't they doing it all in the other? Like the visual was awesome, but I just figured it was just a cheesy way of getting around stuff. Because why didn't they do it in all the other shows, all the other episodes?
Because you die.
Yeah, but it was
So that's the thing is, you think about it at first, like, wow, that's a great suicide move. It's such a sacrifice, and then you think about it a bit more, like, I mean, you could just make a really small ship that's kind of on autopilot.
yes,
and
that's what I'm talking
just,
about.
Destroy things.
Yeah, there's
without-
so many logic holes
Yeah.
and plot. Yeah.
And you think about the movie a bit more, and it's just full of holes.
That's exactly right. And that's why I was like, Marcus, we said this ad nauseum, but we were like, editing and pare that movie down to hour and a half, and you might pull off a good movie.
Yeah,
if
we
you
talked
edit it.
about this. Remember, you brought up the Star Wars thing where George Lucas's wife at the time was being the editor, and he had shots that he had planned for the beginning of the movie, and she's like, no. We're moving this over here. We're moving
Yeah.
this over here. It makes more sense. Ryan
Johnson.
idiot boy, was editing the day he shot.
Oh no,
scenes.
Crash Johnson.
Yeah, right. You can't do that. I mean, that's just. I'm not a movie guy. I'm not a
Kevin
movie
Smith
maker.
does that.
Yeah, but he does $6 million movies, not a 300, whatever,
250. I think.
250, whatever it was. And
With a huge following.
Yeah.
I mean, you just can't do that. I mean,
And
hopefully.
Kevin Smith also cops to it,
So
right?
go back to what did you tell us?
Oh, I didn't like the movie.
Yeah.
When I first came out of it, I thought it was pretty good.
You were me.
Had some
you were me.
issues.
Jamie had to get me off the ledge.
I unpacked it a bit. I went and saw it again. I'm like, this doesn't work.
But you want to like it.
I want to like it. So the thing that a lot of people hate on was the Rose storyline where they go to that gambling planet.
Okay. I didn't even care about that.
So everyone hates that thing, but it's like, okay, it didn't work. Like I understand why you don't like it and whatever, but a lot of people are saying they shouldn't have even gone there. They should have spent the whole story on the ship. I'm like, no, they shouldn't have. They should branch the story out a bit.
Yeah.
I agree.
It doesn't work. You might not like it, but don't fuck on them for trying.
Yeah. That didn't even bother me, honestly.
I wouldn't even mind them trying if they tied it a little to, like, there was a point to it. It just seemed like there was no point to that. And, like, the whole thing for me is with Star Wars is supposedly the Force is leading them in a direction. Why would they lead them in a direction that meant nothing?
Yeah.
It just doesn't, because other movies could get away with it because, all right, there's no point to it, but the Force supposedly is driving this whole franchise. There's a
Bring
reason.
fucking Lando in on that. Jesus, man. Bring Lando. You
That
go
would've been
there,
perfect
you
for
find Lando. He flies the ship, and come on, she's the co-pilot.
Yeah.
Couldn't they have flown to like Snook's home planet so we could figure out who the fuck he is? I mean, that's just or something.
I do
don't
have
know.
news on episode 9. I told you beforehand.
Go ahead.
The news on episode 9 is that, I'm sorry, I had a burp. That the rumor is there's supposed to be like a major traitor within the I'm having a brain fart.
The Alliance.
Within the First Order?
First Order, yes. See,
Okay.
My fact checks right there. With the First Order right there. So they're supposed
You
to
owe
be
me.
like kind of like a Senator Palpatine. We talked about this right before, but I wanted to tell our viewers about it. That's the rumor. There's supposed to be like some kind of major twist.
Or listeners?
Or listeners. We're not viewers yet. We're not
That's right,
viewers yet. We're going to do it.
We're going to do
someday
YouTube
soon.
for sure.
But that, and I do like all their. I'll say this. I ask you, are you a fan of the expanded universe? Did you touch
books?
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Thrawn character. You a fan of him?
Yes.
I get the feeling because they introduced him in the comics and they introduced him in the cartoons and some of the actors they pulled over. I get the feeling that they might introduce him in this. Would that be a stretch? This late in the game, though?
I don't think it'd be too much of a stretch. I think this late in the game, it'd take a lot of introduction.
Yeah.
And it would probably be seen as just fan service.
Yeah,
they might need some fan service after that last
Fair
movie,
enough.
though.
They might need some fan service.
And
but
J.J. Abrams is no stranger to fan service.
And he likes to tie things up to the original. He's really big on that.
Unless
So
it's lost.
You're saying that they
He learned his mistake, dude. He learned his
You're
mistake.
saying though that they probably might not do it justice as far as an introduction.
I don't think they'll have time to do it justice.
Yeah,
Or if
okay.
they do it justice,
Makes
everyone
sense.
else will be like, the hell are these people
Yeah,
doing
who the fuck is this guy?
Why did we just spend 20 minutes on this guy? Why couldn't we get this in 5-minute increments during the last 2 movies?
I'd
at least
appreciate.
hint to him at the last movie or something like that.
I would at least appreciate the fact that they would try, unlike some other characters.
Would you be open to a Mace Windu coming back?
Yeah, why
Anybody?
not? Fuck yeah,
No.
I like him.
I think that character's too
Distracting?
distracting.
Yeah.
Oh, too over the top.
Too over the top. I mean, that character is pretty much Samuel L. Jackson with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
Exactly.
I mean, he was
What movie
badass.
isn't
dude.
He would
Samuel
have been good in
Jackson
Lord and
without-
Miller's
yeah.
version.
Yeah,
He's great.
Yeah, he would have been great in Lord and Miller's version if you can find a way to work him in.
Snakes on a Millennium Falcon.
It's too bad he couldn't say motherfucker. Seriously.
I mean, if they start doing some like an R-rated Boba Fett movie, I'll take 45 seconds on Mace Windu.
Okay.
Just to come in and say,
What a
motherfucker,
fat
call off ahead and
motherfucker.
leave. Yeah.
That's right. You know he has that on his lightsaber, the
Yeah.
prop that they used.
Yeah.
So moving on. They released a picture of Joaquin Phoenix on set
They
for
did.
the Joker movie.
Did he have his costume on? I didn't see
Did
it.
not.
He just had long hair, right?
Long hair. They did like almost a front facing picture, and then they showed him on set interacting with a real life clown.
I worry about this because he's the one person I thought the whole time that, oh my God, he's such a good Joker because of his personality. But the 2 guys that played great Jokers before, I never thought they could do a good job, and they
True.
were fantastic. So I feel like this is going to be like a role reversal.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, even Jared Leto, I thought might be a decent Joker, and I'm like, I was extremely disappointed with that.
Yeah.
So
A real life clown,
Yeah.
like in full get up, or just some
Full
dude in
getup.
a t-shirt who also was a clown.
No, he was a guy. No, well, he was the actor playing a clown in the scene.
Okay, not
Yeah.
like as a advisor.
No, he was it was what I saw was the scene where they were both on the street, they were outside, and he was standing in front of the clown, and it looked like at one point he reached out and touched the clown's nose, and it was like a big ass clown, like fat, tall, but like a clown you'd see at like a kid's party. Still fucking scary as hell, but you know,
clowns are fucking.
Nick has an aversion
I have some
to
nightmares
clowns.
about clowns. I'm not into them. Why would you paint or why would the kids like a painted face with a guy with a red nose? That's just freaky.
Yeah, dude. And when they first started, like that whole thing with the circus and everything, they weren't like as sophisticated with makeup. So it had that. Take a look at like old timey photos of like circus clowns.
Yeah.
But what else
They're
did they have to
creepy
watch
as-
then?
True.
You're watching corn grow otherwise.
Yeah.
That probably was cool for them.
That's probably why you get so many inventions. Like, what else are you doing but thinking about shit?
Yeah.
You know, you don't have so many distractions.
I mean, to be honest, I've totally tuned out of everything DC.
Yeah?
I can't.
Oh,
do
I
it
agree
anymore.
with you, dude.
No, yeah. Well, so
Cavill.
are you going to go see Aquaman?
No,
Not even going to see
not
it.
even going to see it.
You're going to wait till
You're that upset about where they're going with
The
it.
thing is, it's not even that I'm upset, and I've got a buddy of mine who's a really hardcore DC fan who will go see it anyway.
Yeah.
But he'll just rant about it the whole time.
rank good or rank bad.
Rant bad.
Okay.
Like I have no interest in going to see a movie that I don't really connect with the characters, because I didn't grow up on DC stuff. There was a lot of Marvel and Vertigo and some of the other weird stuff. But like I don't really connect with the characters, and I know they're going to be bad movies.
Yeah.
Like I have no interest in seeing a movie and I'll go, oh wow, I wasted 3 hours of my life and $20.
It's one of those things, man, and I'm with you, Marcus. I'm very torn when I thunk my money down because I'm like, there's a part of me that goes, I have this weird debate in my head. There's a part of me that goes, God, man, when I was a kid, and even when you saw them in cartoons, you were like, wouldn't it be awesome if they made real life versions of this? So my reference is in retrospect, you're not getting, this ultimate theater of the mind when you're watching Saturday morning cartoons, when you're watching old school Justice League, right? So any version of that's a live action, heavily invested thing is the part that goes to that part of my childhood brain and says, man, it's kind of what you were hoping for. And then you get in there, and of course your adult brain takes over, and you go, what the fuck, And when there's shitty devices being used to push the plot along, there's poor character development, and there's just it's just an inferior movie.
Well, and that's my problem with them is it's not like we didn't have the budget for it. It's not like we got someone who kind of fits the role, but their acting isn't great. Every step of the way, it looks like they did not give a single fuck about doing DC justice or doing any of the characters justice,
Yeah.
or they wanted to make money.
Quickly.
Well, it's a
Cash
it's-
in.
I think the
quickly,
big
yeah.
thing is that it's make a movie by committee. I
Right.
think that there's a room full of writers, 10 writers. I think that everybody has their hands in the pot.
I don't think there's any writers.
That's an interesting theory.
So
I agree with that.
I think it's producers who are reading a couple comics and going, let's grab this, and this, and throw it all
Well,
together.
I think that's what
Yes.
happened with Batman versus Superman. It was just supposed
God,
to be
that
a
movie was
Superman movie.
fucking terrible.
They just were like, "Oh, we got to get Batman in this movie somehow." So they pushed him in there.
Yeah, Justice League was at least somewhat decent, but that Batman versus Superman, that was fucking awful. That was a total piece of shit.
Yes, it was.
That reminds me, but Batman versus Superman, so I'm a pretty visual guy, right? And so Batman v Superman, I get suckered into the Zack Snyder.
Well, you love the whole.
It's
the
too
suit.
played out.
What's that?
It's too played out. I can't do it anymore.
He knows how to do juicy imagery, right? And it's not like, all right, well, yeah, he's known for his slow-mo style, right?
And that's fine, but it's just my cynical mind goes, okay, next panel. I got 3 or 4 good shots out of this movie, and I hated the rest of it.
So you didn't like
Yeah,
the
well,
Christopher Nolan
that's
ones?
where I'm going.
No, I love the Christopher Nolan.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you said DC, you were just like
No, well, I mean, that was
recent
like
DC.
10 years ago.
How about Tim Burton one? The first one.
Kind of cheesy, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I was a lot younger when I
Yeah.
watched it first, so.
Yeah, and that was like the
And the soundtrack.
point that was the version before that. was Adam West.
Yeah.
So you
But
were
that was like a
holy
gimmicky,
shit.
like
They're taking
yeah,
this
yeah.
material
I'm
seriously.
going to be honest. The best part about Adam West is when they all make fun of him after the fact, like on Family Guy and shit.
It's total
That's
camp,
hilarious
man.
for me.
Yeah, it's total camp. Speaking of which, this is a little
And
bit
then
of
the
fun
Penguins,
fact.
Rocky's corner man. You know what I mean?
Did I mention this last week that Bruce Lee was in 2 Batmans?
No.
Of the Adam West Batmans?
No, you didn't.
Yeah, so last week...
I know he was in that cheesy green.
Well, they did a crossover.
Yeah.
They did a crossover of the Green Hornet
Did they really?
and 66 Batman.
That would have been perfect segue last week.
But it's so funny. Burt Ward, who plays Robin, actually gets some shots in on Bruce Lee.
Does he really?
Yeah.
He's fat too.
Yeah.
That would never happen in real life. Bruce Lee would use his pinky and just kick
Burt
that
Ward's
guy's
a bit of
ass.
a chunker.
Well, back then he wasn't.
He wasn't Bruce Lee.
No, my God.
Bruce Lee had
had-
3% body fat on him, man.
But I came across
Anything
that.
less is like you're gonna die.
But here's a
Literally
guy who
fact
moves
check that.
so fast.
Yeah.
He moves so fast that you could sometimes barely see his hands moving. And he's doing these big, kapows and biffs and bams on the set of the Batman 66. I just thought it made me chuckle.
But see, what I like about those and the Tim Burton villains, and to a lesser extent the Christopher Nolan movies, is they're earnest.
Yeah.
They're trying.
Totally.
They're really
Oh,
trying.
yeah. They made an effort.
And you can, if anything, you can tell that Zack Snyder, like, he wants to make these images, which is fine, but there's a whole movie. You're forgetting about the whole movie around it.
Yeah.
And I like the images. I liked Wonder Woman. I thought that was an alright movie. I love the slow-mo shots of that.
Yeah.
But you can tell that, like, Zack Snyder spent his entire time directing, or as Patty was, his entire time executive producing and going, I want these 3 shots.
Yeah. He wanted to bring the Frank Miller stuff in.
she fought for the island scene?
I'm
No
not
Man's
surprised she
Land.
had to.
because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it.
That's-
She had to
there's
fight
no
for it.
splash scene.
And that was like carried the whole movie forward.
Yeah.
I said that before, that out of all those movies, out of the current ones, Wonder Woman is definitely by far the best.
yeah.
Like, it takes a shit. Like, if you compare them wholeheartedly to the rest of them, that is like on another level.
Dude,
compared
it's
to
a Marvel
other pieces.
level.
And it doesn't, I don't really think it holds a candle to any of the Marvel movies.
No,
No, I think it does. I thought it was really well done. I mean, I'm not saying it's up to the peak of like the best ones. but
Marvel's got 18, he's got what, 18 movies, 19 movies?
I
something
really
like
liked
that.
Wonder Woman.
So
I thought it
if
was
you
really
rank
good.
it with along the Marvel movies, there are some of those Marvel movies in
Yeah.
comparison that don't hold a candle to
Fair enough.
Wonder Woman, right?
It's probably
like
about
Thor: The
mid-pack
Dark
Marvel
World was
movies.
good and everything like that, but I wouldn't even put that up against Wonder Woman.
No, Iron Man 2 and 3. I would
then
say
you-
Wonder Woman's better.
but then you go to,
3
like,
especially.
then you go to like Batman versus Superman. You're like, where the fuck?
Well, that's
what are you
that's in the
doing?
Flash Gordon era.
But
dude.
I'm saying, like,
Dude, they should make a Flash Gordon.
it's
they
just,
should.
It's
They
just like,
shouldn't.
what the hell? Yeah.
What?
No, they shouldn't. Stop ruining that stuff.
Flash Gordon?
Why, dude? That would be awesome.
What about Buck Rogers?
Do you remember Buck?
I've seen something.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
I remember Buck Rogers, dude.
I'm sick of things being rebooted.
Yeah. Oh,
He had
I'm
that
feeling-
like
I'm feeling
what,
that.
electric
Yeah.
thing outside, the like the
He had
meter.
his-
it looked like
yeah.
the electrical, like a little plug.
yeah.
If you think about it,
My man comes up with a good point, dude. Like, it's time to come up with some fucking new material. I bring this up all the time.
You
That
do.
shit fucking
You do.
pisses me off.
Well, and it's not, you can, and a lot of people, you see like original story ideas just rebooted with this, established brand as a cover for it. Mm-hmm. But all you're doing is fucking up the established brand.
yeah, no, that's a great point. The thing
Transformers.
Is, yeah, and the thing is, it's like
You're not a fan.
Oh, no.
Not the car. I'm talking about the cartoon, not the movies.
The cartoon, yeah.
I
Sure.
freaking hated the movies.
Okay.
He screwed that shit up. Let's go on.
Took a
No,
shit.
I
He made
agree.
tons of money.
Yeah, because it's fucking Michael Bay, dude.
But the cartoons were made to sell toys.
yeah, and I
So-
love
and
the cartoons.
movies were made to make money. So I kind of the spirit of Transformers is making money.
But the same thing with the comic books. The comic books were made to sell books, like little picture books. But Marvel still found a way to market it to where you can sell movies and sell well.
Yeah,
so
none of
why
the
couldn't
Marvel
you,
stuff is
It's still
original.
a good idea of an alien race of machines, maybe coming to Earth. That's still a good idea.
it's totally it is. they say when you're 10, 12 years old, that's the formative years where you'll love whatever you were doing when you were that age for the rest of your life, right? And so the Transformers, if you think about it, it's ridiculous.
It is. It's like, when are they going to come out with My Pet Monster?
But we don't give a shit, right?
Yeah, fuck
the
yeah.
same thing with wearing your underwear on the outside of your costume is
yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah. But every superhero that we know and love, started out that way.
Yes.
And so we suspend our disbelief. We take a beat and we say, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm going to, if it's a good story that's attached to these characters that we know and love, it's not really original material because it's all been written. We're invested because it tickles that little spot in our brain that loved it when we were at a certain age.
Right.
But
Right.
And see, that's kind of the reason I don't have that much of a problem with the Michael Bay Transformers is the whole concept is so ridiculous that there's no way you can make a even semi-serious movie about
They're
it.
going to try and do it with Bumblebee.
I think they can. I really do. I think there's enough there on the bone that there could be something there. I mean, I don't know if
could
it's
be wrong.
I don't know if it's salvageable now, but
We'll see. We'll see.
I would love to be wrong.
I would love to be wrong too.
but G.I. Joe is one of those things where I don't think there's. I think
They're coming out with a Snake Eyes movie, I think.
See, I love Snake Eyes. It was one of my.
He
favorite.
doesn't talk. How the fuck are they going to do?
I
a
said I
Snake
loved
Eyes
him.
movie?
I didn't say it was going to be a
No,
good
I'm not
idea.
saying you're wrong. I'm just that's an observation I made.
But that's a great opportunity that they're not going to take. They can make a really interesting movie with a character that doesn't talk, but they'll never
like
do
A
it.
Quiet Place.
They'll never do it.
They'll fuck
Yeah.
up that
Quiet
one.
Place was a great movie, and that
Yeah,
was
but
a
it's
unique concept.
To Marcus's point, and to your point you just made, Nick, it's taking a unique concept and try and do something interesting.
But you notice, and just real quick, I know you're going to move on, but you notice, it's always the new directors or guys that don't usually make big movies take on the unique concepts and make a big movie out
Yeah.
of it.
They don't have a lot to lose.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not going to take, because A Quiet Place, nobody wanted that script. He
Right.
came
It was Star
along and
Wars,
said, dude,
right?
I'll try. George Lucas.
On
Star
the
Wars.
flip side, I don't think Michael Bay could do it, but
No.
if Michael Bay wanted to try something crazy and weird and very niche, he could probably do it, bomb at it, and come back and make another $500 or $500 million movie in the next
They
year.
just keep throwing money at that guy.
Well, it's a business. It's the movie business, and if you're making money, then you're in business.
yeah.
you know.
No, I know. It's at the end of the day, it's about making money.
So, real quick, I want to close on this because then we got to get moving. The one thing that about the River Phoenix or the Joaquin Phoenix story is that they gave him a name, Arthur Fleck,
I heard about that.
and I'm like,
First of all, if you were going to give him a name and they were going to do it, they should have released it as a surprise in the movie because that would have been cool.
well, it doesn't really lend to his mythos,
Right. Nobody knew his name.
yeah.
In the comic books, they never said his name, right?
Which makes the detective in Batman, it makes it so hard for him to pick him apart.
Because it's the one person he's never figured out.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. He's like, how do I, he's crazy as fuck.
He tries to rationalize a crazy nut guy.
Yeah, or you can go into some psychoanalyst analysis of him, and
What
then
did
you
Michael
could say,
Caine say? He's like,
who?
Michael Caine saying about.
He just wants to watch the world burn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See it.
Exactly. That's a great line.
That's such a great line.
All right, one last thing on the news, and then we got to get to our topic. Evangeline Lilly, she posted on Instagram that with the champagne bottle in hand, that she wrapped shooting for Infinity War.
Oh, she's in it.
That's where I was going. It's like,
Nice.
she wrapped shooting. What does that mean? Because she
got
evaporated.
zapped. She got zapped. So that means at some point they all like.
Or it could be a time thing.
Forgive my ignorance. Who is she again in that movie?
She's the Wasp.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, she can be whatever she wants to be.
And
Well, you know.
yeah. So at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, she was gone. Supposedly victim of the Thanos.
Yeah,
snap.
they all snapped. If you
Yeah.
haven't seen the Watch spoiler, Ant-Man and the Wasp spoilers, they all got snapped at the end.
Yep, exactly. So I just thought it was interesting, and I just thought it was interesting that you would even post
I mean, she could be in it in flashbacks.
flashbacks. Is one scenario, right?
And the other thing, I mean, it's all so tightly controlled, the media stuff that was posted as a either
Just blow you off the track kind of thing,
or
off
to
the
kind
path.
of either way to tease it up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Make
is a
people
pro.
talk
She-
We
about
were
it.
talking about this the other episode. Marvel doesn't have to tee up anything right now. Marvel. I'm like, the trailer's coming out for Captain Marvel tomorrow. I just can't friggin' wait. I'm like 9 o'clock. I'm gonna be like waiting for that shit to hit the line, dude. Oh.
So it's 6 a.m. West Coast then.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's going to be on Good Morning America.
Yeah, 8 to 9 somewhere. Probably 9. They always say 8 to 9 because they want to tee it up.
Yep.
But it's always at the end. So
yeah, I'm stoked for that movie. Of course, it's a mystery to me because I wasn't invested in the character. So it's
you weren't invested in Iron Man. No,
Truth.
look at it.
Although one of my first comics when I was a kid was an Iron Man comic, Iron Man and Victor Von Doom. All right, so that's it with the news. Trailers. I mean, one more thing, they dropped the trailer for the new Mary Poppins. It's
Today, I saw it.
yeah, it's really like a lot of animation.
Well, that's what Mary Poppins was. They did that whole like where they went to the fair. I can't remember. I haven't seen Mary Poppins.
That's when they went in the park and jumped.
The park, and they had. Yeah, I haven't seen.
That's a good movie. I'm not. Hey man, it's a fucking good movie.
Why laugh? I think it's a good movie.
Like, that was a big deal at the time, mixing the animation and live action.
That was I think that was the first time that's ever been done.
They did it with.
It's fact check, but I think so.
That
was a good movie.
That's going to be
She
something for the kids.
has huge shoes to fill. Emily Blunt.
Yes.
Now where
Huge.
I thought that sentence was going.
Huh? No.
She's huge eyes.
She's gorgeous.
Okay, so let's get into the topic. So the topic, I was going back and forth. I sort of teased this in the beginning of the episode. We got two car guys here. Two guys that know and love cars. I figured it'd be fun for us to bring up top 5 movie car chases, but to cater to Nick and I's sensibility, we broadened our top 5 to include vehicles in general and chase scenes. So if you get it, it's chase scenes, primarily cars, but opened up for anything and everything as far as vehicles. And then we can wrap it up with talking about like favorite vehicle. If you could have one today, operational, does what it does in the movies, but it's yours, and you know how to drive it.
Oh, it does what it does in the movies?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
that changes a little bit.
I should include. I can only include so much in a text, and then I get bored. So, anybody chomping at the bit?
Let's let the guest star first.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's right.
So going back to formative years, they're terrible movies, but the first 3 Fast and Furious movies, I love them because I was at the right age when those movies hit that they were just the coolest thing to me. And then I started being able to actually drive and realizing I can't do any of that stuff. But, and to kind of really dig myself a hole here, the Tokyo Drift movie. I love that.
That surprises me.
Terrible movie.
I know, it surprises me.
Absolutely terrible movie. But I was like 13 or 14 years old at
When
the
it
time.
came out, yeah.
And I watched that thing on a repeat.
So let me just tell a little backstory on Marcus. He lived right next door to us, right? And so we would have him over and his roommate Ed over, and we would on occasion, once in a blue moon, I'd stop by his place. So one day I'm over at Marcus's house, and you guys were kids, man, at the time. I mean,
You're like 19
still
years old.
19 and 20 years old, and I'm in there, and I'm like, this is a 19 and 20-year-old's townhouse for sure.
Pizza boxes
And I
everywhere.
I see automotive parts on the coffee table, and then of course they don't give a shit. It's 2 guys, right? But where's the money? Big ass flat panel television and a fully set up rig, like a video game driving rig. I don't even know what it was called, but no doubt they didn't.
I think it was a lot of Forza.
That was a lot of Forza. But full size chair, pedals, clutch, everything, steering wheel, the whole 9 yards.
It was a chair I took out of a car I wrecked.
Was it really?
So there wasn't really a whole lot of like, we bought this setup. It was something I salvaged out of a car I wrecked. So.
Fantastic. And to continue with that, Marcus, he came over one time, and this was at the old place, and he said, yo, I got a new car, and I think it was the Subaru.
The wagon?
WXR?
The green one.
Yes.
The green one?
Whatever one you drove me in. I don't think it was a wagon.
Oh, the BRZ.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's like, you want to go for a ride? And I'm like, sure. My asshole was puckered so tight as he is flying around the neighborhood and the thing about it, and I didn't realize this until I was looking up movie scenes, and I saw the scene, I think it's The Getaway with Ryan Gosling. And
Driver, I think.
Well, it might have been that. I'm not sure, but he basically, the look on his face and the transporter, same thing with Jason Statham. It's just this stoic look on your face as they're cruising. I'm feeling like I need to get the fuck out of this car. And he's got this placid look on his face. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I get out. Of course, I didn't show anything. I had a car. I was like, oh my God, I think I just shit my pants. But that... And the thing that surprised me most was the handling. And I wasn't, if it was anybody but Marcus driving the car, I'd have been like, dude, slow the fuck down, get me out of here. But I was like, he does this. He races cars, he builds cars, he fixes cars, he knows he's a car guy. And as we're cruising around, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to be fine. I should be fine. He knows what he's doing. And I'm looking over at that face. It's not, it's expressionless face, and it's just cruising through. And I was like, all right, this is good. So that's why I'm really interested in the rest of your list. That was long.
That was a long.
Okay,
yeah.
the rest of my list.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the 2000s Italian Job.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was a remake, right?
Yeah. The 60s one is good too, but the 2000s one is shot better. The chase scenes in it are shot better.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
Charlize Theron.
not a huge fan of him.
Oh, Charlize Theron was in that.
Yeah.
We're all a fan of her.
Yeah.
Seth Green was in that too, wasn't he?
She's in a handful.
Seth Green?
Was he?
Yes.
Yeah, like the hacker dude.
Yeah,
That's right.
The nerd.
Oh my God! And who else?
Yeah, you're right.
Donald Sutherland was in that.
Yeah.
It was the dad.
That's right. She was in Gone in 60 Seconds too. Oh no, that was Angelina Jolie.
That's a good fucking movie.
There's a movie Ronin, which
Ronin. Oh, yeah, it's good with Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
It's a good movie.
the movie's pretty good. The chase scene in it is fantastic. So the chase scenes I like are the ones that kind of try to be realistic, or at the very least don't make it super obvious that they're actually driving at 15 miles an hour and just like acting.
Yeah.
Because some of that stuff is really obvious when they do it. And actually, we were talking about this earlier. We were talking about Solo earlier, but the most noticeable one was that chase scene in Solo, in like the first third of the movie. The whole thing's CGI, but it's still very obvious, like, they're not going fast.
No.
And there's no excuse for that.
Yeah.
No excuse at all. The whole thing's CGI.
So
Why
that's
can't
not
you
on
make
your
it
list
seem
then?
like... No.
So, wait, what was that? Was that 5?
No, that wasn't 5.
Go ahead.
Come back to me.
Come back to you.
Come back to me. I got
Well, I only have a couple because, like, again, I'm not a car guy, but obviously
Oh,
Italian.
next time when I go on about a story like that, I promise I'll have a point.
Yeah, please. I was about to fall asleep over here. I wasn't gonna say anything. But no, Italian Job's definitely on there. I love that movie.
Yeah.
You know, Born Supremacy, the end scene where he's in Moscow.
Yes.
He's chased. It was just awesome, man. I love almost.
It's on my list.
Oh, I love all those movies. I just I could rewatch that scene. It's just like he's weaving in and out. He's gearing up. He puts the seatbelt on at the end.
Dude,
to go down.
The inside of the car when they smash into each other, it's like you feel like your teeth are loose.
Exactly. It was just so intense. Like, I mean, you can go through the first 3 movies were really well done.
Identity, the Paris chase scene is good too.
Yeah, see, again, you know what I mean? It all fits together.
Yep.
Ghost
and-
Protocol had a really good one too.
Yeah,
Ghost
it did.
Protocol? Oh yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
it did. I mean, you can go almost any one of those movies. There's fantastic. Tom Cruise and all. We even talked about it. He does his own stunts. It's crazy. I like the Batman, Christopher Nolan one where like he first gets in the first movie where he first gets the Batmobile and he's like riding on top of roofs.
Yeah.
You know, and that would have been my vehicle. But then you said anything that happens in the movies can happen. I have to go with the DeLorean. I'm sorry. Go back in time, back forward and back in time. I'm choosing that. Now, if we weren't allowed to choose that, it was just what's in reality.
No, dude, that's exactly where I want you.
I would go to the Batmobile, but I'm going to go with
Yeah.
the DeLorean because traveling in time is, come on, who
course.
wouldn't want to travel the fucking time?
Yeah.
If you get rid of the time travel, it's still a flying car.
Exactly. That too. I forgot about that. Add that little point in there too.
That's true.
Dude, speaking of DeLoreans real quick, matter of fact, we drove by a DeLorean yesterday. I was staring at it to the light and I was like, that car is a total piece of shit.
Yes.
But I fucking want one. Just
Yeah.
to own it and look at it. I just want to, I'm not going to drive it because I know it's going to fucking be a piece
I know
of
we
shit.
all-
But I want to stare at it because
Yeah.
I like it. The nostalgia factor of that motherfucker, I like that thing.
I know you guys don't watch this, but my wife watches the New York. It's a New York show where the realtors go around. I forget what it's called. And they sell and all that shit.
Yeah, like Selling New York or something.
Yeah, whatever.
Like that, yeah.
Well, the one guy, Ryan, he's a huge geek, and the one thing where he was trying to do a showing for an apartment that's millions of dollars, he rented the DeLorean, and he came out in the DeLorean. I was like, dude, that's such badass, dude.
Dude, I did it. I was working with my brother years ago. We were doing work up in Florence, and we would drive by this shitty ass rancher on the side of this like podunk road, and outside of the dilapidated detached garage was a DeLorean with like weeds growing up through it, just sitting there.
Yeah, they're the shit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pieces of shit, but they're the shit.
Yeah.
I like them.
Was the stainless steel body, right?
Stainless steel.
It's all about a movie, man.
so-
all about
So it was
a
heavy as fuck.
It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
heavy.
yeah.
It was totally poorly designed. And the guy who designed that came out with the fucking GTO. He designed the GTO, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? What happened?
Yeah, he had a lot of weird business decisions.
Yeah, I know, including jamming coke in the fucking cars
Including
and
going to jail.
shipping them over.
It's the only way they made any money.
Yeah, that is true.
So, what else, Nick?
That's it for me. I said I didn't have a huge list. Jamie, go ahead. Take the reins.
My number one, it's old school, man. Bullet. Steve McQueen. That fucking one, because that car, the Mustang,
The fastback.
that was 68 with 390. My first car that I built was a 67 with 289. But
Dude,
that fucking scene was awesome. That was just the best.
I completely
I still
agree
go
with
back
you.
and actually watch that on YouTube.
Dude,
every once in a while.
the best part of those scenes for me is that throaty engine, man. It's like that
On the
you know?
Charger, yeah.
You know, and they're in San Francisco. Like, who does a chase scene in San Francisco?
People who hate their suspension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, that is absolutely true.
For me, the thing about that is that was all shot in the 60s.
Yep.
Like, they didn't
Yeah.
have GoPros, they didn't have any small cameras.
Yeah.
If you go back and see some of the like old racing footage from that era, there are guys hauling around on little race cars with 70, 80-pound camera rigs just hanging off the nose.
Yeah.
So like none of that was done easily.
Yeah. And
Dude, that's like the Mad Max 2, like George Miller's
Superdome?
Beyond Thunderdome.
Yeah, the Thunderdome. Sorry, yeah.
No,
was three.
no. Sorry, that was 3.
three.
That was 2. Like
2 is the first like post-apocalyptic one.
Yeah.
dudes were hanging off with that type of gear with like bungee cords, like, and they were like, how nobody died. Same thing with Fury Road, which is on my list, by the way. Like that, someone should have died, and nobody did on those scenes. Like, they're so bold and so ballsy and so risky.
And that car was fucking cool, dude.
Yeah.
It was fucking cool. And I'll tell you, fun fact, they recently like relocated the original,
Yeah.
which the guy had it, he just didn't say anything.
Wait, are you talking about what do you
the original Mustang?
in Bullet?
Yes. They
Yeah.
just like relocated the past like two or 3 years,
I think it
something
was
like
a Falcon.
What's that?
Bullet was a Mustang.
We're talking about bullets.
Yeah,
Shifted
it's-
gears. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was
I thought
talking
we were
about,
talking about
they
Mad
like
Max.
recently like relocated like the original.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I saw the same
it's over
article.
the
Did they really?
Which
Yeah.
original? Because didn't they destroy like 30 of them?
Yeah, they had all the stunt cars, but the original car that
Okay.
like shot like
Steve
the promo
McQueen.
guy.
the original Steve McQueen car.
The one that had the least amount of damage. It was in New Jersey, and the dude would not give it up.
Yeah, until his like father died, and then he like came out with the fact that he actually owned the original car. And then they like located.
How do they know it's like the original car? That's
Because
my
there
theory.
was like certain things like
Aspects of it that they
aspects of it, and then there was
VIN
like
numbers, right?
well that, but there was like documentation. Yeah, they had like a tag on there on the fender well on the driver's side, I think.
No, I was curious because they're older cars. I mean, I didn't know every car back then had VIN numbers.
Well, think about this. When that movie came out, it was 68, and that car was a 68, right? So back then, I mean, we look at it with this nostalgia. Back then, that was the hotness.
Steve McQueen was like
He's a badass.
He was a badass. I mean, Great Escape, all those
Yeah.
kind of movies. He was the actor back then.
Yep.
And guess who he was trained by? Bruce Lee to tie it in last week.
That's right. Good call.
Good
back, Nick.
segue, dude. That was sick.
What else you got, Jamie? Anything?
I like Gone in 60 Seconds. That was fucking.
That was a good movie.
That was
a
good.
movie.
I mean,
Bullet's still your number one?
Bullet is still my number one, dude.
That's
See,
solid,
I was
man.
never big into the exotic cars. Because to me, like, you know, a 2018 Ferrari in 10 years is like a 2018 Ferrari. Like, I don't really give a shit.
So-
I like old cars. I think they got like
Character.
They got character. Yes. They just,
And they were built
So,
right.
I got to ask you guys.
all the new ones are built right. I mean, they've come correct. Like, they've come like a long way. It's just the body lines and stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I like them.
It's because you can never remake that.
Yeah.
They tried. The Charger, the Camaro,
PT Cruiser.
PT Cruiser.
It's a mini Woody.
Yeah. Sick.
So I got to ask you guys, Jamie and Marcus. We talked about this with Jerry. We said, watching movies because he's a police officer and a firefighter. Our friend Jerry. And do you call bullshit on?
Oh yeah, like,
Do you get taken out of the movie?
no, because he was saying Fast and Furious. Like, when those first couple came out, he's right, dude. Because that came around like right at the peak of like imports were fucking like hot at the time, and I was into those at the time. And when that came out, it was just like, and you'd watch it and you'd be like the first one where, like, I think I brought up in one episode of the podcast when they're driving, hits some nitrous and the fucking floor pan drops out or some shit. I mean, it's just like whatever, and you just go along with it.
Yeah.
And
Realize
like,
that what's not going to happen.
yeah, but you're just still like into the movie. You're like, man, this is still great.
just gonna have fun.
There's still street racing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm into that.
Hey, an alien can come down from Krypton and can fly around.
Yeah.
If
I'm gonna believe that
If I'm
shit,
going to
I'll
believe
believe
that.
I think there's like an uncanny valley where you can have a really realistic car chase scene, and you can have some crazy shit like in Fast and Furious
Yeah.
or any of the later Fast and Furious movies. But there's some weird movies in between. I nothing, no names come to mind, but like it's really realistic and gritty, and then they do something totally crazy. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how physics works.
Like the
at
Blues
all.
Brothers.
Yes, exactly.
Blues Brothers.
Actually, that was on the list. I Googled it.
It's on my list.
I was like, I'm not putting that on there.
Dude.
But when he goes and the Nazi is dropping from the air, and he keeps dropping and dropping and dropping, and then lands and just goes, basically plays. The scene.
And by the way, speaking of weird cars that I have to own, the Ghostbusters fucking car, the original one. I think that was a 59 Cadillac hearse. Was that?
Yep.
Am I right?
I'm not quite sure on the
It's
year, but it was.
Yeah,
Cadillac.
it was like a mid to late 50s Cadillac of some
Dude,
sort.
I was in.
I really thought you were going to go DeLorean, man.
The DeLorean. I told you the DeLorean I'd have to own, but I'm telling you, I ain't driving.
I'm talking about time travel, though. John
Dude.
opened the.
Oh, okay. Well,
he
yeah.
opened the shed there. I mean, I
Yeah,
wasn't
well,
going to go there either.
Fuck yeah,
I'm
dude.
totally with you on the time travel thing, man.
It's
by the
done,
way.
dude.
And you know where I would go? I go right to the fucking 80s and hang out. I watch fucking Tony Hawk skateboard, and I watch fucking,
You wouldn't go back to meet Jesus?
fuck no, dude. Where would I go? You know what I mean? Where am I going?
The cradle of civilization.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the things that you guys are saying, Nick. You guys, I'm definitely, if we're going to expand this out, it's the time travel DeLorean. And the fact
a
that
win-win,
Good
dude.
point. It flies.
It flies, dude.
The John Wick movies. The John Wick movies have great car
Yeah.
chases, but every now and then they do something like crazy.
Yeah,
Or
good point.
Yes.
That scene with the Mustang and the taxis.
Yeah.
There's a couple where he like nails a taxi at 80 miles an hour and then turns around and drives it. And it's damaged, but that thing would be destroyed.
Fuck yeah. Especially a unibody, dude. That thing would take a
So
shit.
there are things, there are little notes where you're like,
Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
And that was
it's
an
not gonna
early
work.
unibody too. Like, the
Yeah.
whole thing should crumple.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like it'd be like fucking destroyed.
What'd you guys think about? So anything else, Jamie?
I'm just trying to think of like the vehicles. I mean, DeLorean's a good point, but with the flux
What about
capacitor.
spaceship? Not like a big ass spaceship like the Enterprise or some
okay,
shit like
all right,
that.
'cause I was all
I'm
into
talking
that.
about like something you could handle, like the Millennium Falcon.
No, that would be
X-Wing
it.
or something
I'm
like
seriously, if you're really going to bring it,
X-Wing. I'd have to try
It's
that.
Millennium
I-
Falcon.
I-
that. Over the
Yes.
time travel, really?
Oh, yeah, it's a
would it
Millennium
be
Falcon.
would it be old Millennium Falcon like the one that Lando had in Solo, or
No.
the
Oh,
beat up one?
The beat up one, man. I want the nostalgia.
My man.
I'm in. I want the one in Empire Strikes Back where he's like, turn it off,
He-
turn it off,
he
the
wants-
whole shit's blown up.
He wants to have he wants to be able to Fonzie that shit. Fucking hit it like
Damn
a jukebox
right,
and
man.
have a fucking
Come on.
warp drive kick.
You'd have to know how to fix it too. You might need one of these two
I
on
want that
board.
bullshit dice that's hanging there that we still don't know what the purpose of.
Yeah. But I had similar stuff. I had Blues Brothers on my list. I did have. I went back and forth with Millennium Falcon and the Back to the Future car, the DeLorean. But my favorite chase scene in any movie is probably the Mad Max Fury Road chase scene.
Oh yeah.
I think that's the visuals.
where they were in it was great.
The visuals are stunning. It is, and it's just bananas. It is just those guys. They're on those big giant poles going
I can
back
see
and
that
forth.
for you. You're all into that, like that crazy.
Yeah, and the fact that I read a couple articles that here's this guy George Miller who's like in his 70s just putting his whole sack on the table and being like, here you go. And he brought it. And that was another one similar to the one that was from Mad Max. He, still took tons of risks, still like pushed the envelope. And you talk about like being innovative or just saying like, I'm going to do something that's kind of cool and kind of out there. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Real quick, Marcus, do you get sucked into like Street Outlaws and stuff, even though like some of it's like bullshit, but you're just like, it's like material that you like, you know what I mean? Like I get sucked into it, even though like I know like a lot of it is BS.
I do. What I've actually found to be better than that is the Area 1320 YouTube channel.
Yeah. I watch that. Yep.
Like that's a bit more where it's still like that kind of somewhat manufactured drama.
Yeah.
But there are much better cars on the other end of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I never understood, and maybe you guys talked about imports. I never understood, and I'm just not a car guy, but I never understood buying a $10,000 car and putting $20,000 into it.
Because at any one point, I don't have $30,000.
Yeah, well, that has a lot to go into it, but I found myself.
I get it. Okay,
But
so you're talking about over time. You're going to put that much in there?
Oh, there's that, and there's also like I like the idea of having something that really shouldn't be fast.
Well, my thing is like the build. I was always more into the build than the actual, like a lot of times I'd build something like motorcycles, cars, but like I would build it and I'd be like so into it, and then I'd drive it around and I'd be like, I want to build something else. You know what I mean?
I gotcha.
It's like I don't know.
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's a puzzle, and then you get so fucking into it. Like,
I mean, not mundane, like I'm talking about solving problems and stuff.
Yeah, solving problems, but like actually putting something together the way you want it, the way that nobody else has it, or you know what I mean, or like picking some things, and like the camaraderie that goes along with it. Like he can attest probably to like
definitely,
going to like car shows and stuff. It's a good like you just bullshit with people. You know what I mean? You all have like, yeah, exactly. But you all have like a common thing. You get it. You're like really into it. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter like if someone's into like a different car or whatever. It's just you know what I mean. You have like a common thing of like
kind of like what we do here.
Exactly.
It really is. It's a whole culture all by itself.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure there's tons of podcasts just on cars.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got a buddy that has one, right?
Yeah. I mean, I listen to him all the time.
Don't promote it because he's not giving any money.
Nah, that's fine.
Okay. Good.
But a lot of the thing is like, taking a crappy car and making it fast is just no one has enough money to buy the fast car it ends up being. And no one, but that guy doesn't have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a level of personalization that's sort of it's yours, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like the American dream thing.
Yeah.
That's
Like
cool.
whatever
I
it
can
is,
appreciate that.
whatever piece of crap it is, it's my piece of crap.
Yeah, and I build it with my hands.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I totally get it.
My father-in-law would love you two guys. I swear to God.
Do you guys are you guys looking forward to the Hobbs and the spin-off movie with The Rock and Jason Statham?
No.
What is that? The Transporter?
No,
It's a
there's
spin-off of Fast and Furious, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, not really.
I haven't seen the last 3 movies.
No?
I see.
Just put it out.
I still watch them.
and what's his face? Art?
Jason Statham. Oh, The Rock and Vin Diesel.
Hate each other.
Well, yeah, they had these things.
Did they
where,
make up?
They might have made up. The Rock's.
Supposedly, the Rock called him a pussy.
Well, The Rock. I heard he wasn't real crazy about his work ethic. Like he said, he was
Always
rumored
late to the
articles,
set.
right? Said that he
Late
would
to the set and all that. And
didn't
Rock's
respect.
like more obviously he's regimented. The guy's like a beast.
Yeah, he's definitely got an agenda.
So I was kind of talking to John about this last week. The Rock, he sees, and obviously I've never met the guy. I just know what I see of his movies.
Never met Dwayne? He's a good guy.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Nick's on his fucking nuts hard.
Oh, no. I'm Mark Hamill. That's John. Let's get this clear.
If I'm going that way, it's going to be with The Rock.
But it seems
Go
like
ahead,
he treats making movies like working out. Like if I just do more, it'll be better.
Yeah.
And not really, and I'm sure there is a lot of artistic interpretation to it, but not really, the artistic interpretation of a character. Just do more movies, work harder.
Yeah.
And that works to a certain extent. And clearly he's got a lot of, built-in charisma that is
He's
carrying him.
banked
And I think that's what it is. I think he, like John said in a couple episodes, he's so lovable.
Yeah.
He really is. He doesn't. It's not like his character. You watch all his movies, pretty much the same character in every movie.
Yeah, and he likes connecting with his fans. He's gone on record. He's like, that's one of the most important relationships I have is with the one I maintain with my fans. And I think it energizes him, it feeds him, and it's a guy who came from pretty meager means, so you got to respect his game. Working hard and getting, he's earned it for sure. So Blues Brothers was on my list. Matrix Reloaded was on my list too. I just want to sort of throw that in
the
there.
chase scene.
Yeah,
That was cool, but
it was again. I'm not a car guy, so I go into it for this stunning visuals.
But that's one of the things where you just totally suspend your disbelief there.
well, it's like
100%.
anything else, though. I mean,
Well, that's like some car movies or some car chases. It's just realistic enough to think, okay, they're following a certain set of rules, and then they do something stupid. Matrix, they've established with the movies there are no rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do
why.
whatever the fuck you
That's
want.
why I asked you about like a Street Outlaws, because it's a show about actual cars that like race, and then you see shit and you're just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's even worse because they're supposed to know better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Essentially.
who's that show with the British guys? The three
Top
British.
Gear.
Huh?
Gear.
Top
Yeah,
Gear.
Top
That's
Gear.
it. Top Gear. My stepson watches that all the time.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And we are just about out of time, folks, so I'm going to wrap this up. And I just want to say thank you, Marcus, for coming on the show.
Yeah, no
of course, you always are welcome to join us and engage. Marcus, we told you as a car guy, but I know the geek runs deep in you, dude, so we're definitely going to bring you back.
Anytime.
So thank you, everybody, for joining us for this week's episode of the Nick, John, and Jamie Show. Please be sure to subscribe to our show. We are on the usuals. We are on iTunes and Google Play, Stitchers, Spotify, and the YouTubes. And if you're really digging the show, leave us a... I'm trying to rush this because I'm looking at the recorder, and I don't want to screw this one again. You can also follow us on Twitter at NJJ Show, Instagram at NJJ Show, or if you're on the old school Facebooks, as usual, search the Nick, John, and Jamie Show and follow our page. Thanks again, everybody, and have an awesome week.